Well, just on that $3 billion that you raise, the former Defence Secretary Ben Wallace has pointed out that actually that is topping up money that's going to Ukraine. It's not going into the overall MOD budget. And he said essentially it actually works out as a cut in the overall budget. But just to press you on the date here, we've heard from the Chief of the Defence Staff this morning how important it is to do things like build up our stockpiles again. We've heard from countless experts in this field that we are in an incredibly dangerous moment. So I understand that there are reviews going on, but people want to know, when will you keep your promise?
Well, firstly, I think Ben Wallace is wrong, I think, from what you've said. I mean, the £3 billion uplift to the defence budget was in addition to the £3 billion grant to Ukraine, which continues each and every year in the forecast period. In terms of the money and how it's being spent more broadly, though, the Defence Department spends about £50–60 billion a year, and there's a big question about how that money is being spent and what it's being used to buy. And given that we have donated ammunition to Ukraine, evidently that money will have to be re-geared towards buying back the capacity and the stockpile that we have as a country. But further money will be announced at a future fiscal event after the Strategic Defence Review.
But your own colleague, John Healey, the Defence Secretary, has said that the military has been hollowed out. The Estonian Prime Minister, who's got Russia staring over his border and an unpredictable American president returning to the White House, says everyone has to pay more. So I'll ask you again, by when will you keep your promise? Can you even commit to doing it in the course of this Parliament by 2029?
So I'm not going to give you a date today because it relies on the outcome of the Strategic Defence Review, which will decide what the spending priorities are.
But you made the promise. You made the promise during the election that you would hit that target. And today, our viewers will hear you're not even committing to doing it by 2029. You might not win the next election. So a commitment without any date at all is no commitment at all.
Well, the promise in the manifesto is a promise that will be met. You'll recognise there was no date set in the manifesto for the reasons I've set out.
But do you mean it will be met in the course of this Parliament by 2029?
As I said, I'm not going to give you a date today because we have to allow the Strategic Defence Review to conclude, which will inform our decisions about how much money we need to spend and what we need to spend it on, given changing geopolitical kind of affairs, but also the state of the defence services as we've inherited them from the last government.